The BBC News at 6 o'clock with Sophie Raworth.
Tonight at 6, another major storm batters much of the UK with heavy rain, strong winds and snow. Storm Chandra brings widespread floods to large parts of southwest England. In the north of England, blizzard conditions make driving treacherous. Also tonight, after a backlash against November's budget, every pub in England will get 15% off its business rates bill. America's Coco Gauff shows her frustration after a shock defeat in the quarterfinals of the Australian Open.
I am going to be leaving. It's really hard.
And the BBC's Carol Kirkwood, who has brought a lot more than just the weather to our screens, announces she's leaving after 28 years.
On BBC London, work finally begins on the HS2 tunnel, which will link Euston to Old Oak Common. And the government announces a cap on ground rents for leaseholders. We'll have the details.
Good evening. The third major storm to hit the UK this month, Storm Chandra, has brought flooding, travel disruption and led to hundreds of schools being closed. Southwest England and Northern Ireland have been hit hard by heavy rain. Northern England and Scotland are having to battle snow with more forecast. In Northern Ireland, there's an amber warning for strong wind, and this is all the rain that has hit the UK today, with more rain, snow and ice warnings issued for large parts of the UK. Well, Jenny Kumar is in Devon, where the River Otter has reached its highest ever recorded level.
Well, yes, the river remains very high. The rain has started up again, and people here are really feeling that this month they've just received such a battering. First there was Storm Goretti, which left a trail of devastation across Cornwall. Then there was Storm Ingrid, more damage, particularly to South Devon. And just as people are clearing up here today, they're bracing themselves for more bad weather later this week. The third storm of the month, and the green fields of Devon overwhelmed with water. After a night of relentless heavy downpours, people ventured out to see the River Otter. With a severe flood warning in place, it was at its highest recorded level. In the nearby village of Tipton St John, people say this is the worst they've seen it in years. Cars attempting to drive through inundated roads ended up stranded.
Unfortunately, somebody drove through in their car and hit the water with force, and their car started floating.
Natalie tells me her husband helped the driver to escape from the blue car.
They couldn't get out. My husband managed to say to them to undo their windows and advise them to climb on top of the car roof, and called the fire brigade, and they had to come and rescue that person in a boat, but very, very, very scary.
The village primary is among 40 schools that closed today in Devon, and this one has been badly damaged. So there's quite a strong smell of damp in here.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the floor looks pretty ruined as well.
Yes.
So what's this mean for the children and their education?
This particular class will have to be relocated. And actually, from past experience, what we've noticed as well is obviously outside there's a lot of soiled water, which means we're not going to be able to use the playgrounds for certainly for a while.
Well, flooding like this has caused a lot of disruption here. It is beginning to recede, and the focus is now on the clear-up and removing vehicles like this that have got stuck. In Topsham near Exeter, residents have spent the day clearing water from their houses. Somerset has also been hard hit. This is the village of Martock. Northern Ireland bore the brunt of the storm. More than 300 schools and colleges closed. Belfast City Airport cancelled over 24 flights. 10,000 homes were left without power. Flooding burst the riverbanks in the town of Culcavy. Local farmer David helped to save residents by redirecting the water flow.
I know they were panicking a bit, but I think everybody pulled together here, and the fire brigade were first in, and then council come with some sandbags there as well.
In higher areas of England, heavy rainfall is turning to snow. This ambulance and the local doctor needed to be rescued in the Yorkshire Dales as they were responding to an emergency call. Blizzard-like conditions are expected in parts of Scotland where there's a yellow warning for snow and rain and a risk of flooding. Wales also has a number of flood warnings and alerts in place. Back in Devon, the water is beginning to recede, but with more bad weather forecast for later this week, many communities feel they're not out of the woods yet. Jenny Kumar, BBC News, Devon.
And let's go to Sarah Gervin now, who is in Kirkwood in Northern Ireland, where thousands of properties are without power and hundreds of schools have been closed. What is the situation there tonight?
Yeah, well, Storm Chandra has brought really heavy rain and really strong winds across Northern Ireland today, which are actually picking up again now. More than 350 schools were closed and just under 4,000 homes across Northern Ireland remain without power. And just to give you an idea of how severe the weather has been today, there was a gust of wind at 81 miles per hour recorded in County Down today. In the same county, in a place called Kate's Bridge, 10 centimetres of rain fell today, and we think that that's the wettest ever day in that area. Usually just 8 centimetres of rain falls in the entire month of January. And we do know at least one person has been injured during these stormy conditions. A tree fell on a woman's car in County Fermanagh. She was taken to hospital, though we do understand that her condition is not serious. And we are in Kirkwood in County Down, as you say, where a river just nearby has burst its banks. And actually you might just be able to see that the water is racing down these streets, although actually the residents here have been pretty lucky so far. None of their homes have been flooded, and that's because they came together. They've put out sandbags here. A farmer has built these dams, and they will be hoping that that holds tonight. Now, there is an amber weather warning for wind that finishes at 9 p.m, a yellow warning for rain until midnight, and a new ice warning that's in place in Northern Ireland from 3 a.m. until 10 a.m. So Storm Chandra certainly making her presence felt here.
Sarah Gervin, thank you. And a full weather forecast, of course, at the end of this programme. Pubs and music venues in England will get 15% off their bills for business rates from April as part of a major support package from the government. It comes after dire warnings from the industry that measures in last year's budget could lead to the mass closure of pubs and job losses. But a similar discount on business rates has not been offered to restaurants or hotels. Here's our business editor, Simon Jack.
We're talking like there are some pubs that are looking at sort of £70,000 extra a year.
On top of increased energy costs, increased food costs, bill costs, national insurance, wages.
I didn't expect to be asking my 17-year-old children in the middle of their A-levels to be actually doing shifts for me because I can't afford to actually pay the staff.
Pub owners led the backlash against large rises in business rates due to take effect in April, with the average pub facing a rates bill rise of 76% in stages over the next 3 years. Today, the Chancellor backed down.
Whilst we already provide £4.3 billion of support as we taper away the pandemic era support, we're providing a little bit more for pubs, just under £100 million.
The package means pubs and music venues will get a 15% discount on their April rates bill, cancelling out for most a 15% rise due to take effect then. That'll be followed by a 2-year freeze, saving most pubs an estimated £1,650 over year one, and those discounts will cost the government £80 million in the first year. But crucially, this does not apply to other parts of the hospitality industry. Nick runs 8 pubs around Windsor. He welcomed the rates relief but said higher wage costs, higher national insurance and higher energy bills had put any growth plans on ice.
We would love to expand our business, but we put that on hold, and also would like to employ many more young people, but we've also stopped doing that right now because it's just too expensive. We're cutting back staff hours because we have to. We may have to look at opening at different times because it's just not viable. But at the end of the day, this present government is hurting our business tremendously.
The pub industry has broadly welcomed the relief announced this afternoon, but there are grave concerns about the rest of the hospitality industry, particularly the hotel industry, which is facing even bigger increases and is not getting the same level of support. This hotel has been family run for 3 generations, but manager Jason said this could be the last.
Can you see yourself, I mean, is it got to the point where you've considered jacking it in? Yeah, so when our rateable value came through from 98,000 and it went up to 245,000, at that point you start thinking, what's the point?
Chancellor insists pubs have a special place in communities, but while she may have bought some cheer at the bar, the rest of the high street feels out in the cold. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Leaseholders in England and Wales are set to benefit from a shake-up of the leasehold system. Ground rent will be capped at £250 a year. The move is part of long-awaited proposed reforms which would ban the sale of new leasehold flats and give homeowners greater control of how their buildings are managed. Here's our housing correspondent, Tara Welsh.
There are around 5 million leasehold homes in England and Wales. It means people own the right to occupy a property, but a freeholder owns the building and the land beneath it. The government has laid out plans to end the leasehold system.
This is the staircase that they've put in up to the flats that they were building in my loft space.
Kate is the leaseholder of a flat in Surrey. She showed us round after building work by the freeholder went wrong. She welcomes the news that flat owners could get more control over their properties.
I think it's too late for me, unfortunately. The damage is well and truly done. Had it been in place and leasehold didn't exist and it was a common hold legislation, it would have completely prevented everything that happened to me and I would still have somewhere to live.
Good news for homeowners.
The Prime Minister announced some of the detail of the planned laws in a TikTok video, including the plan to cap ground rents at £250. Other measures include scrapping forfeiture, where a freeholder can seize someone's property if they have a small debt. It says it will ban new leasehold flats and make it easier for existing leaseholders to convert to common hold, a system where homeowners and their neighbours own their flats and the entire buildings.
While many leaseholders and campaign groups have welcomed the news, freeholders say that this draft bill will tear up long-established contracts and property rights. They say that the capping of ground rents will have an effect on pension investments and that the government should instead focus on raising professional standards.
But changing the law is going to be complex.
I think it's fair to say that there is a redistribution of power, and in this case, with this particular bill, a redistribution of value as well. It's going to mean that leaseholders ultimately over time will know with certainty that their ground rent can't exceed a particular figure.
The new legislation is likely to be rigorously challenged, but the government says it's the beginning of the end to what it calls a feudal system. Tara Welsh, BBC News.
New footage from this month's protests in Iran has emerged despite the continuing almost total internet blackout imposed by the Iranian authorities. At the start of January, thousands took to the streets across Iran. The US-based human rights activist news agency says it has confirmed nearly 6,000 people were killed in the brutal crackdown that followed. But it says it fears the final death toll could be much, much higher. We will have more on that on tonight's news at 10, including testimony from a woman who was shot but was too frightened to go to hospital. President Trump has tonight described the shooting of a 37-year-old nurse in Minneapolis at the weekend as a very sad situation, but said people can't take part in a protest carrying a gun. Tensions escalated over the weekend after Alex Pretty became the second US citizen to be shot dead by federal officers. Some of the ICE immigration agents and the man leading them are now expected to leave Minneapolis in what may be seen as a climb down by the White House. Tom Bateman reports.
Federal agents fanned out to protect the hotel where Greg Bovino was said to be staying, armed with tear gas and wrestling a protester to the ground. While the war of words is cooling, the backlash on the streets of Minneapolis goes on.
The atmosphere changed suddenly as these agents pushed the crowd back. I saw one of them firing onto the ground here, some kind of irritant, and it's forced the crowd away from them. They're determined not to have this crowd close to the hotel.
They'd gathered when they heard Mr. Bovino would be leaving, wanting to give him a send-off he wouldn't forget.
And we're not letting him get out of here without letting him know how much we hate him and the absolute havoc and murder that he has wreaked on our state is unacceptable.
Do you feel like this is a victory?
No, I feel like it's a start.
So far, there's been social media silence from the commander, who usually posts prolifically. Known for his aggressive street tactics to remove immigrants, it is his own removal from Minneapolis that is the Trump administration's answer to this. The killing of Alex Pretty, who Mr. Bovino alleged intended to massacre agents, a claim for which there was no evidence. Tonight, Mr. Pretty's sister, Michaela, issued a statement paying tribute to her brother, adding, "Hearing disgusting lies spread about my brother is absolutely gut-wrenching. My family is deeply grateful so many people have stood up and helped tell his truth."
I love Minnesota.
More senior Republicans have now been openly splitting with the nature of the president's deportation drive, including Chris Maddell, who's pulled out of the Republican race for state governor, suggesting agents are racially profiling.
Driving while Hispanic is not a crime. Either is driving while Asian.
As Mr. Trump heads to Iowa to speak on the economy, the First Lady has echoed the administration's new tone of cooperation.
We need to unify. I'm calling for unity. I know my husband, the president, had a great call yesterday with the governor and the mayor, and they're working together to make it peaceful.
There is a lot of noise, but this is not a full retreat by the Trump administration. Its deportation drive goes on, even if its most publicly known face is being forced out of town.
Well, Donald Trump on his way to Iowa now, and talking to reporters briefly before he left, he appeared to double down on the fact that Alex Pretty had a gun. Now, remember, that was a gun he held lawfully. It was holstered. According to all the video evidence, he didn't appear to pose any threat, didn't reach for it, and agents had wrestled it away from him before they shot him. But Mr. Trump saying to reporters, "We can't have guns. You can't walk in with guns. You can't do that." Going on to call this a very unfortunate incident. So although we've had that conciliatory tone from the White House, the fact that that is now the focus of the president's attention, I think will worry many here in Minneapolis.
Tom Bateman, thank you. The time is coming up to 6:20, our top story this evening. Storm Chandra batters much of the UK, bringing heavy rains, strong winds and snow. And more homes are demolished in the village of Thorpeness on the crumbling Suffolk coastline.
And later on BBC London, we meet the 96-year-old sharing her story and the history of the Holocaust to younger generations. Plus, why it's a new era for one of London's Grade 2 listed town halls.
The political thriller One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, leads this year's BAFTA nominations. The film is up for 14 awards, including Best Film and Best Actor for DiCaprio. It's followed closely by the vampire horror Sinners, which picked up 13 nominations. Our culture editor, Katie Razzle, reports.
The BAFTAs always throws up some distinctly British surprises, and the best British story of the day,
it's called Tourette syndrome, say things that I shouldn't,
is Robert Arameo's Best Actor nomination for I Swear. The biopic about a Tourette syndrome campaigner cost less than £4 million.
I'm so sorry, pal.
Now, the 33-year-old from Hull finds himself competing for the BAFTA with Hollywood stars, including Timothée Chalamet, Michael B. Jordan and Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was just in my apartment doing the dishes, and then when I saw my name I just couldn't believe it, and then my agent called me within like half a second, and she was, I'm crying, I'm shaking, on the phone and stuff.
You're competing with some of the greats.
You all gave such amazing performances, so just to be there amongst them is, I really honestly can't believe it.
Did you stop doing the dishes at that point?
I did stop doing the dishes, yeah, I have since finished them. This is Bob Ferguson.
The action epic One Battle After Another, with its £100 million budget and DiCaprio in the lead, has cemented its position as the film to beat this awards season. He has a record 7th Best Actor nomination at the BAFTAs, joining the likes of Sir Laurence Olivier and Michael Caine to that accolade.
Viva la revolution!
Is it true you know everything about a person by touching them here?
A record too for Chloe Zhao's Hamnet, which is the most nominated film directed by a woman in BAFTA history. And it was produced and made here in the UK.
What do you wish to do, Hamlet?
I should be one of the players with the sword.
The fictional drama, based around Shakespeare's wife and the death of their young son, is up for 11 awards, including Best Film, Best Director, Best Actress for Jessie Buckley, and Best Supporting Actor for Paul Mescal. He missed out on an Oscar nomination.
Jessie's performance and the film itself is nothing without Paul's performance. You know, he really is the backbone to the film along with Jessie, and I think it's fantastic that both of them and Emily Watson, all three, have been recognised by BAFTA.
Welcome to Wallis Island. No!
Other British films, including the comedy drama The Ballad of Wallis Island, also have BAFTA nominations, including Best Supporting Actress for Carey Mulligan.
Listen here, this ain't no house party.
But it's the big US movies that are making the running. And just like at the Oscars, the vampiric revenge thriller Sinners is now squaring up to one battle after another in the race for the most awards. Katie Razzle, BBC News. Now, a study of more than 100,000 women in the UK has found that the menopause is linked to a loss of grey matter in the brain, which is vital for mental functions, memory, emotions and movement. The research published in the journal Psychological Medicine suggests these brain alterations may help explain why women face a higher overall risk of dementia than men. Our health correspondent Michelle Roberts is with me. So more than 100,000 women took part in this study. Far fewer had the actual brain scans, though, didn't they?
Yeah, so 11,000 had the brain scans. And what they noticed was that they looked at some women who were pre-menopause, some were going through the menopause, and some had gone through it. So their estrogen was now really low, and their periods had stopped. And what they noticed was in the brain, there were certain changes that seemed to be linked with the menopause, and that was in areas that were linked with memory and also attention. So they're wondering if there's something here that we could learn for Alzheimer's disease and dementia.
And HRT makes no difference?
In this study, not the brain changes. So the women who were taking HRT didn't appear to be saved from this shrinkage of the grey matter. But what we importantly don't know is what happens to those women in the future, whether that then means that they will go on to develop something else.
Michelle, thank you. There's been a sharp rise in the number of adults in England who say they don't drink alcohol. New figures suggest almost a quarter don't drink, with young people and men among those driving the move away from alcohol, according to the government-backed Health Survey for England. It found that people aged 65 to 74 were almost twice as likely to drink at risky levels as those aged 25 to 34. A landmark trial begins in California today, and two of the world's biggest tech firms are expected to appear in court. The case against Meta, which owns Instagram and Facebook, and Google, which owns YouTube, has been brought by a 20-year-old woman. She alleges that algorithms on social media platforms left her addicted and harmed her mental health. The owner of TikTok, ByteDance, was also due to appear, but just a few hours ago settled out of court. Well, Lily Jamali is in San Francisco, and this case is going to cause a lot of interest, isn't it?
It certainly is. And a lawyer for KGM, that defendant that you mentioned, told me that this is the first time a jury will have a chance to hold social media companies to account in a court of law anywhere in the world. For years, these companies have used a legal provision from 1996, that's before social media even existed, to argue that they're not responsible for what third parties, what users post to their platforms. This case is really important because it looks at the design choices that these companies have made with respect to their algorithms and notifications and other features that plaintiffs allege keep users scrolling sometimes for very long periods of time on their platforms. At this trial that starts today in Los Angeles, we do expect to hear from top tech executives, including Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who has defended his company on this issue in the past. Meta has told the BBC that they strongly disagree with the allegations in this case. They and YouTube are the remaining defendants after, as you mentioned, TikTok settling this case this morning following Snapchat's parent company, which settled last week.
Fascinating. Lily, thank you.
Now, this was the Suffolk coastline by the village of Thorpe Ness just a few months ago. And this is that same stretch of cliff top, and that's what it looks like now. 6 or 7 more homes have been demolished because coastal erosion means the cliff top is crumbling. From there, Joe Black reports.
It is the Suffolk fairy tale village, but the North Sea can be a problematic neighbour. The speed at which the coastline in Thorpe Ness has disappeared has stunned many. Homes which have stood for decades, torn down before being claimed by the water.
This morning there was a bungalow just over there, but that has been demolished. And now this block of 5 flats is being pulled down.
Once these flats go, the total of properties lost this winter will increase to 10. Shelley Cowlin lived in her home for 48 years. It was demolished 2 weeks ago. She'll turn 90 this year and now finds herself looking for somewhere to rent.
To stay in the village still, I hope that I should be able to manage that all right. I can't buy now, can I, with a house that's no longer there and no collateral whatsoever left? Bit tricky. And I don't think I can go out and get a job, do you?
Some of the properties lost in Thorpe Ness were second homes, but some residents have lost the houses they lived in full time.
They have lost everything. They've managed to get their belongings out of the house, but as far as the actual property is concerned, that's it. They don't get anything for it.
The shoreline management plan for this part of the coast is managed realignment. In other words, no hard defences. East Suffolk Council says there are no viable long-term solutions to stop the erosion, but continue to work with residents to tackle this developing situation and consider some proposals which may slow the problem. 3 further properties have been identified as being at immediate risk, leaving some villagers anxious about a sea that never stops advancing. Joe Black, BBC News in Thorpe Ness.
At the Australian Open, the American number 3 seed Coco Gauff has suffered a shock defeat at the hands of the Ukrainian Elena Svitolina, who beat her in less than an hour in the quarterfinals. Gauff made 26 unforced errors, losing 6-1, 6-2. Afterwards, she was filmed smashing her racket in the players' area, pictures that were broadcast around the world. She has now called for more privacy for players off court.
I tried to go somewhere where they wouldn't broadcast it, but obviously they did. So, yeah, maybe some conversations we can be had, because I feel like at this tournament, the only private place we have is the locker room.
Coco Gauff. Now, the weather presenter Carol Kirkwood has announced that she is leaving the BBC after 28 years. She got a little teary this morning as she told viewers on BBC Breakfast, where she has worked for more than 25 years. I know that because I used to work with her on Breakfast a very long time ago, as you're about to see. Carol has, of course, been a very much-loved face on the BBC, and here are some of her most memorable moments.
What's it going to be like, Carol? Today is not going to be too bad for many parts of England and Wales, Sophie. Tourism, whatever the weather, its impact on the canal.
Carol Kirkwood! Wow!
It will feel more like below freezing for many parts. Yes, it is very windy indeed. I started the day off with a hat and a hair clip. They're now probably in Hollands.
We've been admiring that beautiful dress this morning, Carol.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you. The weather today is not too bad either. And look at it. Fabulous. The sun is beating down. We've seen lots of doggers, not doggers, of course, lots of dog walkers and joggers. Not quite as hot and humid as it's going to be in the next few days, Charlie and Lou.
Don't turn around.
Been eaten alive by this wee pig. Good morning to you as well. Yes, here at Royal Ascot, it is a beautiful start to the day. I look forward to showing you around the gardens here at Buckingham Palace through the rest of the morning, because I can tell you they are spectacular.
Carol is so lovely. She is one of the very loveliest people I've ever worked with. She is a legend. She is the best at what she does.
So I'm going to be leaving. It's really hard for me to say this, because I love my job. I love all of you guys, my weather colleagues, every department I've worked with, and of course all the viewers. The time is right, absolutely right for me to go. So new beginnings for everyone.
Oh, the gorgeous Carol Kirkwood, who is not actually going until April, so she will still be with us for a little while. Let's have a look at the weather now. Elizabeth Rizzini, hello.
Hello, we love Carol too. She's our ray of sunshine in the morning, and we're really going to miss her. Let's go back to the storm. Now, the amber wind warning across eastern counties of Northern Ireland has just been cancelled. Still very blustery, though, here throughout the night. Of course, rain has been a huge problem, particularly towards the southwest that's been hit by previous storms. There's been flooding, 60 to 70 millimetres of rainfall here throughout today. There are multiple flood warnings in force across the southwest in particular, and one danger to life, severe flood warning left too. That's for the Upper Froome at Dorchester in Dorset. So take a look at the BBC Weather website for all of the details on those flood warnings and the severe flood warning too. This is the radar picture then from earlier. This is Storm Chandra gradually pushing northwards and eastwards. Plenty of rain, some hill snow. It is a gradually improving picture though through the night. Still gales blowing towards these northern Irish sea coasts for a time. Still more rain and hill snow moving in on this brisk southeasterly wind across northeastern Scotland. Still some more heavy thundery downpours across the far southwest as well. But we will see the skies clear, and it's going to be cold, colder than it has been. Temperatures hovering very close to freezing. Mist, fog and ice will be an issue into tomorrow morning. But tomorrow is a much quieter looking day of weather. Icy stretches, yes, and there'll also be some mist and fog. I think it could linger on perhaps through the Vale of York for some time into the afternoon. Still some more showers across northeastern Scotland, Northern Ireland, and just where we don't need them across Devon and Cornwall too. But for many of us, it will be dry and there will be a lot of sunshine around as well. What's happening on Thursday? Well, we've got more showers gradually creeping into the southwest. The general picture as we head through the rest of the week is that it will stay very unsettled. More on the weather app.
Elizabeth, thank you very much. That's it for us, from us on the BBC News at 6. It's time now for the news where you are. Goodbye.